Hello, everyone, and welcome to World Gen Z Research around the world in 8 plates. And a big thank you to our presenter, Jessica Von Wee. Hi, Jessica.
Hello.
So go ahead and take it away if you'd like.
Will do. Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Van Wee. I'm a student fellow for the Menus of Change University Research Collaborative, and I'm a junior nutrition major at Rutgers University, where I work under the supervision of Dr. Peggy Palacastro as a member of the Rutgers Healthy Dining Team, where I educate college students about nutrition. So my research project, which I will tell you about now, is titled Around the World in 8 Plates, Assessing College Students' Understanding of Cultural Cuisine. Next slide, please. Next slide. So this research project was really centered around the Menus of Change principle, celebrate cultural diversity and discovery, because it is important for students to understand where their food comes from. Before a student can celebrate cultural diversity, they need to know the origin of their food. By understanding where their food is from, we can also promote global sustainability through diversified agricultural practices. Many global dishes also focus on plant-forward culinary strategies, which further promote human health. Next slide, please. So a poster board picturing 8 different countries was set up in the 4 Rutgers dining halls on 4 different evenings, with 8 cards next to it picturing 8 different culinary cuisines. Students who were willing to participate in the research project matched each card picturing a culinary dish next to what they thought was its country of origin via a piece of Velcro. The 8 countries and dishes that we tested students on were hummus from Lebanon, codfish from Portugal, bok choy from China, samosa from India, lentil stew from Ethiopia, quinoa from Peru, pierogi from Poland, and corn tortilla from Mexico. Students who participated then received a prize for their participation and re-recorded their dichotomous yes or no responses. Next slide, please. As you can see from the results, corn tortilla, pierogi, samosa, bok choy, and hummus all had the highest percentage of correct responses from the student population, indicating that many college students had a general understanding of common cultural foods and where they're from. On the other hand, quinoa, codfish, and lentil stew had the highest percentage of incorrect responses, showing that further education is recommended for students to have a better understanding of all cultural cuisines. Further education could be recommended throughout their life through education in the school systems and through exposure in dishes that they eat all throughout their lives. Next slide, please. So t-tests revealed that our results were significant and not just based on chance. And chi-squared analysis was done to reveal that the food had an effect on the student response. Student responses were not independent of the food, but rather showed significant interaction between food and the student response. Next slide, please. So as I previously mentioned, many students were familiar with the common cultural foods and their countries of origin, but further education is recommended for students to have a comprehensive understanding of all cultural cuisines and where they are from. By understanding the cultural origins of the food they consume, students can then truly follow the Menus of Change principle and celebrate cultural diversity and discovery. This knowledge is also important in order to encourage diversity in agriculture, to promote global sustainability, and also to use plant-forward culinary strategies in everyday cooking in order to promote human health. Some ways to encourage students to try new cultural cuisines would be exposing them to different culinary styles in their campus dining halls. This could also be accomplished through creating dishes combining familiar and unfamiliar flavors to the students, so they're enticed to try a new dish because they're familiar with the flavors, but are also being exposed to something new from a different culture. Another great way to get students to try new dishes is to utilize the culinary strategies from a different country, but in a format that they're familiar with, such as a pizza, a burrito, or a bowl. So they're able to try the new flavors from a different culture, but in something that they are familiar with. What we really took away from this research project is that it is important to educate not just students, but everyone about culinary dishes and where they are from, because by celebrating cultural diversity and discovery through culinary cuisines, we can promote global sustainability, human health, and the appreciation of different cultures in our society. Thank you. If anyone has any questions, I would be willing to take them now.
Sorry. Jessica, what would you say would be your favorite part of this project?
What I really liked was seeing the results and seeing what students were familiar with and what they weren't, because I was genuinely surprised when I found out that a lot of people knew that bok choy was from China, because I thought that was a little more of a different ingredient, something you don't see every day. And the fact that that was one of the highest ones that had the percent correct response was very surprising. So just the results were really fun to see.
Great. We do have a question in the chat from Gerald. His question is, how was codfish determined to be an inherently Portuguese ingredient?
So when we were coming up with the dishes and countries, the entire healthy dining team was brainstorming ideas, and the head of our team knew that codfish was a typical dish served in Portugal. I believe like salted cod is how they prepare it there. So that's really common in their culture. And so we were all tossing around ideas of ingredients or staple dishes that we knew were from different cultures.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, again, if you'd like to join us on screen to chat with Jessica here, we would love to talk to you. Or you can drop your questions in the chat here in the sessions tab. Jessica, would you like to tell us how you got started with this?
Sure. So each semester with the Rutgers Healthy Dining team, we like to come up with a few research projects that we work on throughout the entire school year. Mm-hmm. So I started working with a partner on this project, and we really wanted to do something that focused on global dishes because we were really interested in global cuisines and seeing if students knew about that. So that's where this idea came from. And we wanted to create it in a format that students could interact with through a game of sorts. So that's when we came up with the matching idea of different cultural cuisines and where they're from. So that's really how it came to be, just wanting to incorporate cultural cuisine into this format that students could interact with and we could gather data from to conduct the research.
Okay, good. We do have a question from James. He asks, what trends do you see among new students?
Trends that I have been seeing increasingly popularized recently have been plant-forward vegan diets or vegetarian, or I know flexitarian is a term that's being tossed around a lot. People are focusing a little less on meat and a little more on plant-forward foods, which I think is really great to see. And even if people don't follow those trends necessarily, I know they're familiar with it. This is terminology that students know and understand now, which is really interesting to see.
You're saying that they know and understand this. Is this wordage, are they brought into the kitchen? Is it used around your school? How are they taught about this, you think?
I think it's exposure, whether it be in dining halls or restaurants, because there'll be a vegan section or a vegetarian section. Things are specifically labeled with that. And so people associate, oh, this product doesn't have meat in it. That means it's vegetarian or vegan, however it's prepared. And it also comes up in regular conversation. I do think a lot of people learn a lot about it through social media. because it's very popular there, and among lifestyle influencers and stuff like that. People are just exposed to it in almost every way nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. Are you doing anything on social media with this project?
Not with this project specifically, but we do have an Instagram account for the Rutgers Healthy Dining team.
Mm-hmm.
And this semester, we've actually been working on a new research project of sorts, and we're seeing how we can educate college students about nutrition on this online platform that we're on now. Living in a virtual world, we're seeing how we can continue what we were doing in the dining halls, but online.
Yeah, definitely. I guess my question earlier, how did you get started with or as a fellow? How did you, how were you able to jump into this project just yourself? What was your sort of journey?
It started when I joined the Rutgers Healthy Dining team, and the head of the team, Dr. Peggy Palacastro, works with the Menus of Change University Research Collaborative. She told all the members of the team about the opportunity to work as a student fellow with MCURC. And I immediately thought it was amazing. I heard about the Menus of Change principles and how they like to promote sustainability in the dining halls. And I thought that sounded amazing. It really sparked an interest in me in wanting to learn more about global sustainability and how we can incorporate that with serving nutritious food to the general population. And this has been an amazing journey for me. I've learned so much. And with this research project alone, I've really developed more of an appreciation for different cultural foods and how I can continue to broaden my horizons and continue to try new things in my own life.
That's great. We do have another question from James. It's great. What is Rutgers' solution to this COVID pandemic related to meals, variety offerings, meal styles?
So I know on campus they have shut down a lot of the dining halls because they closed the campus for the semester. We're all online, but they did allow limited housing for people who needed it. So they kept 2 dining locations open, and they have been offering takeout meals to students who need it. And I actually saw on the dining Instagram the other day that they have been trying to create some plant-forward dishes, different cultural foods. They've really been creative in what they're creating as takeout meals for students, which I think is fantastic considering the times we're living in.
Definitely. Do you have any say in the meals?
I do not.
No, you don't.
But I have heard the chefs talk about them sometimes and how they come up with it or source ingredients. And it's really interesting because sometimes they'll just talk to a vendor and a vendor will say, hey, we have this fish that is fresh today. And they'll come up with a dish for the dining hall based on that fresh ingredient.
That's great. That's really great. Again, we've had a few more people jump in. If you'd like to join us on screen and ask Jessica your a question, or again, you can drop it in the chat if you'd like. Do you predict anything for next semester?
Rutgers has already called it, and we're going to be mostly online again.
Okay, all right. So do you think that they will continue the to-go orders?
Definitely.
Okay.
They are opening up more housing options on campus, so they might even open more of the dining locations. So that will be very interesting to see what they decide to do there.
Definitely. Definitely. And what do those other dining locations look like? Are they smaller? Do they provide a different sort of style of food? What does that look like?
I'm glad you asked this. Rutgers has so many different dining options. So they have 4 dining halls, which serve your typical campus food. Each one they have different menus every day. And then there are other locations where you can use your meal swipes. One of them is Harvest Cafe, which focuses a lot on plant-forward eating. And so all of their foods in that location, I think, follow the Menus of Change principles, which is amazing. There's also several cafes on campus where you can get sandwiches to order or wraps. What What else is there? There's also a market that's kind of like a grocery style place, so you can get more essentials.
Okay, that's really nice.
I love the variety of dining options at Rutgers. You can get something new every day.
That's really amazing. So is that what you kind of lean towards, you personally?
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. Harvest Cafe is my favorite place to eat on campus. They have a beautiful salad bar. They create these pizzettes every day, so they're kind of like mini pizzas, and they'll incorporate different ingredients onto them. One time there was one with all these mushrooms on it. Another time they had one with shrimp and a basil pesto. So they're always experimenting and trying new things, and it's delicious.
That is really great. Yeah, that's amazing. Again, for those of you who just joined us, you can jump on screen here and talk to Jessica. If you'd like to ask a question, you can drop it in the chat here to the right if you'd like, under the sessions tab. So with your project and it continuing, so what are you looking forward to most next semester?
I'm looking forward to being back on campus most of all when that does happen. Yeah. But I would really, if I were to take this project a step further, I would really like to see and test out ways in which we could really entice students to try new things, or find out ways that they like to try new foods in their own life, to see how we can continue promoting these practices and principles that are so important, and how we can then take it from the college student population and branch it out and see how we can encourage the general population to try more cultural foods and bring that into their own lives.
Definitely. Do you see this going to social media at all? I'm just curious.
I feel like it could. I haven't put much thought to it yet, but I'm sure if the team came together and we started brainstorming things, we could definitely make it work.
Of course. Definitely. James, okay, so I have seen a lot of requests for healthier foods, but many end up getting the comfort foods. How can we stimulate the change?
That's a great
question. Yeah.
I like that. I feel like a lot of it comes down to education and informing people about which is a more nutritious option, or how you can still choose the comfort foods that you like, but incorporate a healthier element into it, or minimize the less nutritious part of it and have a salad with it. It's something along those lines. I think it really just comes down to education and telling people, hey, this is a little better for you than this, or incorporate more vegetables in this dish and it's a little better for you. Have a piece of fruit with this. Just simple things like that, so you can still enjoy your comfort foods, but also choose some healthier options.
I do like the idea that you guys have with the harvest market. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and the grab and go style for students, especially. Sometimes you guys don't get a chance to really sit down, or maybe you feel like you're always on the go, and then you resort to other things that are easily accessible. So that is nice that you will have those healthier options and those dining areas that allow you to do a grab and go or quick meal.
Yes, it's really giving the students that option also. Like at Harvest, all of their stuff is pretty much plant forward. So if you have a location that only offers that, of course you're going to choose a more nutritious option because it's all that's there. And it is a very popular spot among students to eat there, which is, I guess, surprising, but really nice to see at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so with your project, how many days were you in the dining hall doing the plates?
So we had it set up on 4 different times for a 2-hour time slot. So it was 8 hours total of gathering data from students.
Okay.
And how we did it was we were set up near the entrance of the dining halls. So whenever a student walked by, we would entice them to come and participate by saying, hey, do you want to come win a prize? And most people were like, oh, of course I want to win a prize. What do I have to do? And we just say, can you match these dishes next to what you think is their country of origin? And a lot of people had fun doing it, especially if they were in a group of friends, because they'd play off of one another like, oh, do you know this one? I don't know this one.
Yeah.
It's fun to see.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So Jessica, you are a sophomore?
A junior.
Junior. Good. Okay. And how do you feel about being coming to the very short end of college?
It's scary.
It's scary? Oh.
Yeah. I haven't thought about it much. I mean, it's exciting because it'll be a next journey in my life. But people said high school goes by fast, college is going to go by even faster. And at the time I thought, no way. And now I'm more than halfway through college and I totally believe it.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. For a couple of you that just joined, hop on screen here and you can ask Jessica a question. Don't be shy. or you can just drop the question right here in the chat for her. Thank you, James. He said, what influence do you see your generation on our future restaurant concepts?
I feel like I see a lot of, I don't know if fusion is the right word to use, but definitely more of a combination of different cultures and cuisines coming together into one restaurant. Because I know a lot of people, at least who I talk to, like to try new foods and combine them into different dishes. And I've even seen restaurants that do this. A lot of college students tend to popularize those places and eat at them. So I definitely see a lot of fusion foods. And also this whole new plant-forward eating style is definitely growing in popularity. So I do see a lot of that coming forward into the restaurant scene.
Mm-hmm. In your dining halls, how do you guys name your dishes? So if a student were to walk up and they see a dish, would they know where this is sort of based out of, or is, go ahead.
Yeah, they definitely will highlight whatever the main ingredient is and use that as the main terminology for the dish. But then they'll use descriptors, either describing where it's from or the seasoning or influence for it, like lemon encrusted codfish. Just making something up here, but using those descriptors to make it sound enticing and delicious, or give some indication of where it is from, while also highlighting the ingredient.
That's good. That's good. If you'd like to, I can go through the slide once more just to kind of look at it again. Why not? So let me head on over to the beginning here. This is a very interesting project. I think the result, the information that you are getting from these students would be really interesting, just because then you kind of get an insight into their brains, their knowledge on where their food is, coming from, and some people may not even know. And so definitely bringing that to their attention is really amazing.
Yeah, I saw after people participated, it really got them saying, wow, I didn't know this ingredient was from there. And it really kind of opened their mind to thinking of more possibilities of where's all this other food from then? What other things do I need to try or learn about?
Yeah. And that brings on just culture in general. I'm just learning about the culture through the food, which is great.
I think the food is one of the best ways to learn about a culture.
For sure. Definitely. Definitely. So could you tell me what you found most interesting about maybe some of the information that you guys received on this? What was like the most shocking point that stood out and that kind of stands out in your mind?
One thing that I found surprising was hummus didn't score as high as I thought it would, because I feel like hummus has really become a hot food trend recently and everyone's kind of into it. It's a great snack food. They're even making dessert hummuses now. And I think it was around 66% correct, but I kind of expected it to be a little higher just because of how popular it's become recently.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That is interesting.
Another thing I found interesting when we conducted it was a lot of people mixed up lentil stew and quinoa. They were saying lentil stew was from Peru and quinoa was from Africa. So that was a very common mix-up.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jessica. This was an amazing time, amazing presentation. Lots of questions. I love it. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you so much. This was an amazing opportunity. I was so happy to share this with everyone. And thank you for everyone's amazing questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.